faithfully convey value, interpret great books worldwide. Hello, this is Sally's Book Club. Today we're exploring the book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. Before we begin, imagine this scenario. You've spent months working day and night on a crucial project bid, only to lose in the final selection. How would you feel in that moment? Would you feel utterly discouraged, thinking all your effort was wasted? Believing those months meant nothing? Or after brief disappointment, would you review the process to identify failures and improvement opportunities? These represent two fundamentally different mindsets, revealing one's core attitude toward failure and adversity. Author Carol Dweck calls the first approach a fixed mindset, the second a growth mindset. Carol Dweck is a renowned American psychologist with groundbreaking research in personality, social, and developmental psychology. After decades studying success patterns, she discovered the growth mindset concept, earning her the Yeadon Prize. In Mindset, Dweck clearly defines both mindsets, compares their impacts on life, learning, and work, and reveals how mindset shapes success. She shows young people that only the growth mindset leads to true success. This is the redefined success mindset referenced in the book's subtitle. Finally, Dweck provides a complete framework for developing growth mindset habits. Since publication, the book has received widespread acclaim. It remained on Amazon's U.S. psychology bestseller list for 10 years. With 1.8 million copies printed, it's earned praise from Time Magazine, Wall Street Journal, and other major outlets. Microsoft founder Bill Gates praised it. Once you deeply grasp the growth mindset, you can transform your thinking and life. I've distilled the book into 3 key questions. First, what defines a growth mindset? How does it fundamentally differ from a fixed mindset? Second, how do these mindsets impact workplace relationships and education? Third, how can one become a growth mindset person? First, let's explore the initial question. What is a growth mindset? How does it fundamentally differ from a fixed mindset? So, what exactly defines a growth mindset? Growth implies everything is fluid and changeable. It acknowledges innate talent, but places greater value on improving abilities through learning and effort. Contrastingly, the fixed mindset believes abilities are static, viewing exceptional talent as inherent privilege. Thus, the growth journey becomes about constantly validating one's innate gifts. Dweck once conducted a puzzle experiment to validate these two distinct mindsets. He offered 4-year-olds 2 choices: replay familiar, simpler puzzles or attempt unfamiliar, challenging puzzles. For 2 hours, the children could repeatedly make these selections. Post-experiment, Dweck observed 2 distinct patterns. One group consistently chose familiar puzzles, while the other persistently tackled new challenges. Brainwave studies revealed the first group focused solely on immediate outcomes, whether they succeeded or failed. Success brought joy, but failure made them avoid similar challenges thereafter. The second group was completely opposite, unconcerned with success or failure. They cared about what expanded their knowledge and skills. These choices revealed psychological differences. Familiar puzzle children played safe to maintain smart perceptions. New puzzle challengers embraced difficulties and reveled in learning. Dweck termed the first group's mentality the fixed mindset. In this mindset, intelligence and creativity are seen as innate. Growth becomes about proving existing abilities rather than evolving. The second group exemplifies growth mindset, dissatisfied with current achievements, eagerly acquiring knowledge to engage more deeply with learning. From the puzzle experiment, it's clear that the biggest difference between growth mindset people and fixed mindset people lies in their completely different views on challenges and failures. When facing challenges, those with the fixed mindset quickly lose interest because the task is beyond their control. Dweck once conducted research at the University of Hong Kong, where teaching is entirely in English, but not all students can communicate fluently in English when they start. Dweck surveyed freshmen who weren't good at English, asking them if they'd be willing to participate in tutoring courses offered by the school to improve English. Results showed that a significant number of students expressed little interest. They were afraid of the challenge. They believed that challenges would expose their shortcomings, which was a terrifying thing. They just need to stick to the safest tasks, those that prove they're smart enough. Growth mindset individuals are the opposite. When facing a challenge, their first reaction is, I can't get results right away. I need to tackle it step by step and solve problems. How fascinating. And they feel incredibly excited while exploring new fields and solving new problems. Sheryl Sandberg is a perfect example. Before joining Google, Sheryl Sandberg was chief of staff at the Treasury Department in the Clinton administration. When Google, which wasn't well known then, invited her to join, Sandberg researched Google's business. She found that Google was providing a consulting channel for the world. She considered it a brand new and challenging venture. So, despite the new company's operational instability, she still joined. After working at Google for 6.5 years, Sandberg chose to join the younger Facebook, helping it achieve profitability and become one of the world's most profitable companies, despite its massive user base but lack of a good business model. So you see, Sandberg demonstrated the growth mindset in this series of choices. She repeatedly accepted challenges, moving to new companies and fields, starting from scratch. When facing failure, there's a big difference between fixed mindset individuals and growth mindset individuals. For fixed mindset individuals, failure is unbearable. They remember every failure deeply, labeling themselves as losers. They don't acknowledge the value of effort, even avoiding trying due to fear of failure. In the Hong Kong University case, Dweck found students refused tutoring mainly to avoid potential failure. They believed their innate talent brought past successes. They avoided tutoring and evasive because without trying, they could excuse themselves by saying, I just didn't want to. Not, I couldn't. But if they tried and failed, they'd define themselves as complete failures, good for nothings. The fear of failure outweighs actual consequences for fixed mindset people. The book tells of Bernard Loiseau, one of the world's greatest chefs. He innovatively removed rich butter and cream sauces from French cuisine, creating fresher, natural flavors. This earned him a Michelin 3-star restaurant and multiple cookbooks. Yet this brilliant chef committed suicide, fearing his restaurant might lose stars after a critical Michelin review. And Loiseau was so terrified of failure that he killed himself before any downgrade was confirmed. Ironically and tragically, his restaurant wasn't downgraded after all. Growth mindset individuals approach failure entirely differently. They don't see failure as unbearably terrifying. Sure, they feel disappointment, but they focus on learning from failure to move forward. Shi Yu Zhu exemplifies bouncing back after failure. In 1989, when computers entered China, he made his first fortune with Chinese input software, Han Card. Later, he entered the health market, creating Brain Gold, but faced bankruptcy when funding collapsed during giant building construction. And by 1996, his company declined from prosperity. It existed in name only. 3 years later, Elon Musk reassembled his original team and created the now famous Brain Platinum, successfully making a comeback. In 2001, he established Giant Network to develop the online game Zeng 2. In Elon Musk's view, failure is temporary. Bankruptcy means you can start over and do better. These completely different views on challenges and failure form two distinct mindsets. Fixed mindset people remain trapped in failure, stagnant, and refusing to exert effort. They fear failure, worrying that even with effort, success might remain elusive. But the growth mindset is different. They're always eager to tackle challenges, and success is simply the outcome after completing those challenges. So what specific impacts do these mindsets have in daily work and life. This brings me to the second question. I'll examine mindset impacts in workplace, relationships, and education. First, the workplace. Whether employees have fixed or growth mindsets is crucial for company development, especially for leaders. Those with fixed mindsets possess innate superiority complexes, seeing themselves as crisis solving geniuses. Such leaders always prioritize personal image and interests first. To prove their excellence, they'll sacrifice company interests and often hold biases against subordinates. In their view, people are inherently superior or inferior. They only recruit the best. The company becomes merely a platform for these people to showcase their excellence. After talent joins, these leaders provide no growth opportunities. They believe if subordinates underperform, it simply proves they weren't excellent enough. Lee Iacocca exemplifies such a fixed mindset leader. At Ford, Iacocca believed he'd succeed Henry Ford, but was ousted after 32 years. Humiliated, Iacocca then joined another automaker to salvage his pride after being fired by Henry Ford. Through government loan lobbying and new car models, Iacocca turned the struggling company profitable. He proclaimed himself the hero who saved the new company. But afterward, he didn't focus on improving new models or reducing costs, instead spending time and money hiring Wall Street to boost stock prices. Fearing subordinates' new designs would steal his spotlight, he rejected their proposals. To raise stock prices, Iacocca attacked Honda and Japan, lobbying for import tariffs and quotas to restrict Japanese car sales, actions that fatally damaged the company. Ultimately, the new company's board fired Iacocca. Such leaders' thinking revolves solely around validating self-worth. Their priority is always personal gain and reputation. When companies thrive, their interests align with corporate goals, so they maintain them well. But during crises, they cover mistakes, blame others, and suppress rivals, all to protect their image. Growth mindset leaders are entirely different. They believe abilities can be developed, listen to subordinates, and trust that employees and companies progress through effort. Consider Jack Welch, CEO of General Electric. Welch valued employee development, directly engaging with frontline workers to hear their input. Every GE employee had a values card. Its top principle was hatred of bureaucracy, and energizing others was essential for GE leaders. Under Welch, GE's value soared from $14 billion in 1980 to $490 billion in 2000, a 30-fold increase, making it the world's most valuable company. This success stemmed directly from Welch's growth mindset management philosophy. Next, let's examine how these mindsets apply to relationships. Using romantic relationships as an example, people often expect love to last forever. But more often, two people walk together for a while, then part ways. At this point, some might say, I'll never believe in love again, while others declare, I'll try harder to find true love. And these are two distinct reactions stemming from different mindsets. Growth mindset individuals try to understand the reasons behind a breakup. Their primary goal is accepting reality and moving forward without labeling love, whereas fixed mindset individuals view breakups as personal injuries and criticisms. They wallow in self-pity, refusing to understand why things ended, and constantly seek revenge for their hurt. Take Liao. After his 3-month marriage to the legendary beauty Hu Yinmeng ended, he spent his entire life publicly shaming her. On shows, in books, using every opportunity for ridicule. Not only does fixed mindset prevent graceful acceptance of breakups, it's often the psychological root of relationship failure. Why is that? Fixed mindset creates two core problems. First, it believes that if a relationship requires effort, it can't be true love. Many seek partners expecting destined soulmates, and when reality doesn't match fantasy, they doubt and often break up. Second, fixed mindset people blame their partner's character flaws during conflicts, leading to endless arguments and relationship collapse. As renowned marriage expert Aaron Beck noted, no relationship is perfect. Healthy, lasting love requires mutual effort, adjustment, and compromise. This is the growth mindset perspective. Finally, let's examine how both mindsets apply to education. The earlier puzzle experiment is actually a classic educational case study. Children with different mindsets focus on entirely different things. Fixed mindset children focus on success and outcomes. Growth mindset children focus on effort and process. So what creates these mindset differences in children? This traces back to how parents and teachers handle setbacks and encouragement. When children achieve small successes, like winning a competition or topping the class, teachers and parents easily blurt out phrases like, "You're so smart." Little do they realize this praise sends the message, your abilities are being judged. By succeeding in this test, you've proven your excellence. So naturally, children adopt this mindset. In future studies, they'll strive to prove their excellence to earn more praise. But if praise focuses on thorough preparation, your hard work paid off, it conveys you grow through effort and I see your dedication, steering children toward growth mindset. Dweck cautions, when children fail, parents mustn't overprotect by saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter anyway." This not only devalues effort, but deprives children of failure experience. Elizabeth's father understood this deeply. 9-year-old Elizabeth was slender and flexible, a young gymnast. At her first gymnastics meet, though nervous, she performed solidly. But two other girls outperformed her, so she didn't win first place and felt deeply disappointed. Her father told her, "I know how you feel. You hoped so much and gave your best, yet didn't win. You must be disappointed. But understand, you didn't give 100%. Many girls trained longer and harder than you. If this truly matters to you, devote yourself fully to it." In essence, you shouldn't have won, though you did your best, it wasn't enough compared to others. He told Elizabeth the truth. Her effort wasn't first place caliber, not empty comfort. You're already number one in my heart. Crucially, he showed her the path to success, total commitment. The impacts of the two mindsets across various fields on people have been introduced. It's not hard to see that this subtle way of thinking actually has profound effects on all aspects of life. Fixed mindset makes people self-limiting, unable to see the value of friends and colleagues, leading to setbacks and failures. Whereas growth mindset helps people maintain good relationships, better unleash their potential, achieve work goals, and move towards success. Given this, how can we escape the fixed mindset and cultivate a growth mindset? The answer to this question involves 3 steps. First, recognize false growth mindset. Second step, break free from the shackles of fixed mindset. Third step, persistently and patiently engage in mindset training to develop a growth mindset. Let's start with the first step, recognizing false growth mindset. The reason for false growth mindset is that people's understanding of this model isn't thorough enough. Dweck introduced 3 types of false growth mindset. The first is overestimating one's strengths and mistaking them for growth mindset. For example, someone open-minded and willing to accept new things might think they already have a growth mindset. But in reality, they're just focused on their own feelings, constantly seeking to prove themselves, including boasting about being a growth mindset person, which actually distances them from true growth. Recognizing one's strengths and continuously improving them is what constitutes a growth-oriented strength. Second step, misinterpreting others' praise. In daily life, people often praise others for various reasons, but often such praise is just politeness. For instance, at a party, Shahang praises Xiaoming for being hardworking, but in truth, Xiaoming didn't put in more effort than others. Xiaohang's praise is merely out of etiquette. Praising others' effort this way has nothing to do with growth mindset. Correctly interpreting others, praise, and having deep self-understanding are the foundation and prerequisite for growth mindset. The third type is excessive encouragement. Many people think growth mindset is just encouraging others. You can do it, you're capable, but they overlook the more important aspect, providing methods to achieve goals. For example, if a project isn't completed on time, the project manager failed to properly control the project progress. If at this moment the boss says, "It's not your fault you didn't finish, you tried hard enough," then the project manager likely won't improve in the next project or find the reasons for this failure. Only by identifying failure causes, improving skills, and pairing grounded effort with confidence building encouragement completes a true growth mindset. To cultivate growth mindset, we must both eliminate misconceptions and break free from fixed mindset shackles. So, how does fixed mindset manifest in real life? The first trait is a superiority complex. Many feel undervalued at work, believing they're overlooked for promotions solely because leaders fail to recognize genius, completely ignoring the effort factor. Career advancement requires not just competence, but sustained year after year effort until breakthroughs occur. This effort must be continuous year after year until quantity transforms into quality. The second trait is reality denial, like ostriches burying heads in sand. For example, communication issues often plague marriages. After years together, a couple may avoid discussing problems altogether, neither communicating nor improving, pretending all's fine. Ice 3 feet thick forms not in one day. Prolonged avoidance makes partners unwilling to ever open up again. The third trait is uncontrollable anger. Many appear calm outside but explode at home over minor things, lashing out at parents, partners, or children. Take a husband, leaving dirty socks everywhere. After repeated reminders fail, the wife attacks him as incorrigible, escalating to irresponsible, ending with "no wonder your boss doesn't trust you with important tasks." Personal attacks, concluding the outburst. With growth mindset, many such toxic situations could be avoided. Let's use this third example, uncontrolled anger, to demonstrate. How would a growth mindset person respond? First, they'd recognize differing habits, expressing the need. Please put socks in the hamper, not on the sofa. If there's still no response, they won't give up. Instead, they'll think of further ways to solve the problem. It's appealing to reason and emotion. Tell your husband, "I feel disrespected because you haven't made time for something important to me." Doesn't this problem-solving approach sound much better? However, having a growth mindset doesn't mean you can achieve it overnight. By solving one thing, it requires a long cultivation process. The author distills the transformation process into a 5-step method. Step 1, accept your fixed mindset, acknowledge it's part of your thinking, and tell yourself it's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't label yourself as a fixed mindset person. Everything can still change. Step 2, observe. This step encourages people to observe and introspect, seeing what events or behaviors trigger their fixed mindset, especially when facing difficulties. For example, during hardships like breakups or job loss, the fixed mindset is most likely to surface. The more stressful it is, the more you need to be mindful of your inner self, identify the psychological reasons that make you fear failure and change, and then practice targeted exercises to counter these thoughts. Step 3, give your fixed mindset a name, as if it were a person. For instance, call a mindset that makes you fear loneliness wit. Then tell yourself that wit's worries are childish and immature. The purpose is to make people more clearly aware of the fixed mindset's presence and trigger their own vigilance. And when you want to blame others or try to prove yourself, you can promptly remind yourself, see, wit's worries appear again when it wants to cause bad outcomes. Step 4, educate. This is the most crucial step, which involves finding scientific methods for mindset practice. When your fixed mindset surfaces, educate yourself to learn, change, and solve problems with a more positive attitude. For example, identify the reasons why your last relationship failed. Or tell yourself that the breakup isn't the other person's fault, I'm not a failure, and Wit's worries could happen to anyone. Then seek a next relationship that's more suitable for you. Step 5, create a plan. Building on education, think more concretely about problem solving approaches. And the more detailed this plan is, the better. And put that plan into action. For example, after job loss, first identify reasons and your shortcomings. How will you address these shortcomings? Should you take courses or self-study online? After reaching what proficiency level should you job hunt? That concludes the third question. Transitioning from fixed to growth mindset requires understanding false growth mindsets, breaking fixed mindset constraints, and persistently practicing new thinking patterns. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Tomorrow's you will surpass today's. This is Dweck's core message. What matters in life isn't innate talent, but mindset. Temporary success or failure means little. What counts is maintaining an active learning attitude. Believe in effort's value and meaning. Commit to lifelong growth. All right, lifelong growth. That wraps up today's interpretation. Reading notes are below the audio. Until tomorrow,